the sweetest. And the puggiest. Big yawn. That's nice.
Big yawn.
There we go. Look at us.
Look at that setup.
Gonna get them. Do you like it?
Oh wait, can people hear us now the mic's on?
No. Okay. Their waiting room doesn't have audio.
Ah, perfect.
Okay. Thank you, sweetie.
Thank you.
Can you maybe angle the TV a bit?
Ooh, fancy. Ooh, fancy.
Look at that.
Bilbo, allow me.
Oh, buddy.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, my goodness.
You don't need audio on the TV, do you?
No. Alrighty, Roo.
Right, buddy.
You guys ready for this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
ready.
Hello.
We got it working. Thank you,
We
Turbo.
got it working. Hello, hello, hello. Sorry, it was
Okay.
my elbow. It's okay. Hello and welcome to the live stream. We are the Purl Perspectives, 3 real life friends
Oh,
from
I'm Aly.
Canada. This Aly
That's me.
Carine.
and Anahí. And we are so happy to be here today for another Purl Perspective where we're knitting and we are just pondering about why life is so hard.
Too many cables?
Why do we need so many cables to make our lives function? I was asking myself earlier today as I tried to, thank you very much, as I tried to set up the live stream,
Yeah.
like, equipment. Can you believe we have equipment?
Yeah, that's
No.
The heck
There's
is
a
that?
mic that's just off screen here that lights up.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's a camera, and there's a computer, and there's a keyboard involved, and now
Which
we have
outfit?
it's up on the TV.
Just a second. Does that work?
I think so.
Yeah.
Classic pearls. Thanks, Turbo.
Classic pearls. All right. Excuse me.
You're cute. You're cute.
All right, sorry. The microphone was too far away.
Yeah.
Look at Bilbo.
He's just hanging out there.
This is our official mascot, Bilbo the dog.
Mm-hmm.
You probably can't really see his beautiful features because he's only one color.
There's some white and gray in there.
Yeah.
He is the world's
little old man.
the world's chunkiest, most adorable poquito.
Bilbo, what's your favorite thing to knit?
My own sweaters.
Me too. Me too. Oh man, we are knitting again.
Yeah. Actually,
Yes.
I don't know what to knit. I have 2 projects, and I need help deciding what to knit.
Okay, let's see.
Do I work on the big one
Well, let's see them.
or the little one? Okay, so
First of all, can you show off that fabulous knitting bag? Are you kidding me right now?
It's shiny, and it's a big square.
And it
not
makes
square,
a really
rectangle.
like fun sound. Listen. It's so fun.
This little moment of ASMR is brought to you by.
Don't worry, the Bilbo ASMR is gonna start any minute.
Yeah.
Any minute.
Yeah. This last year in the fall, Frankie Gray Fibers, which is a Canadian yarn dyer based in Alberta.
Yeah.
A mom and daughter setup. It's pretty great. They had a bunch of these bags made for Knit City Calgary, and then after the show they put them online, and it was like, if you buy a sweaters quantity you get a free bag, and I was like, yes, add to cart, because I'm weak. Very, very weak. But I would just like to say, I don't know if they have these bags anymore, but if you are in the market for like an opalescent kind of plasticky bag like this, they're great. I would definitely recommend Shala of Black Pearl Magic.
Hi, Shayla.
She's got some incredible stuff in her shop. I don't know if she's got stuff in her shop at this moment in time, but she makes project bags that are very similar, like with this kind of material, and they're just so fun. They're just so fun and happy and glittery and bright.
They're so fun. I love it when my products come in
It's
a
from the
fun
US though.
package.
Yeah, yeah. That is a maker in the States, so just beware with tariffs and stuff like that. But anyway, my 2 projects. So I have 2 on the go.
Option A.
Option A
Bye,
is
Bilbo.
Bye, Bilbo.
Bye, Bilbo.
The second of my Year of the Snake socks. Right?
What a cutie. Look at this guy.
Cables
Look at
for
that.
days.
Maddie Elise hits it out of the park every time with the sock patterns. And she's coming up with a Star Wars.
Yes, it's Darth Vader.
I don't
that was
know.
so good.
I don't know if you saw, but I immediately commented, "Ooh, I'm definitely going to sign up for the test knit."
Because I don't know if you guys know, but I mean, long live the resistance.
So it feels a little anathema to be doing a Darth Vader sock, but that's okay.
It's okay.
I test knit her droid socks last year.
Oh, they
which
were
was
fabulous.
They were so good, and I intentionally made them a little bit too big for me, and then I gifted them to a friend of mine at Christmas.
Aw,
and
you're
when
a better person
when
than
I
I
gave
am.
them to her, she literally sat there at her desk like this for like 5 minutes. It was really fun. So I'm really hoping that they're keeping Steph's toes warm.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have the sock with the cables, and I've memorized the pattern now. So doing the cables is not.
Okay,
not
I was
too-
gonna say, because cables at midnight, it's usually not a good idea.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna make a mistake.
Well, I mean, I find lace to me is a no-no, but cable, if it's a simple cable,
Yeah.
You good.
it's not too
And
bad.
then
The second
my-
it gets too complicated, then
Second project that is on the needles that I am so close to being done. This is one that has been shown on the pod before.
Oh yeah, Amber
Oh,
O'Brien.
yeah.
This
Look
is the
at this.
Aramophilia shawl by Amber O'Brien.
Look at
It is
this.
definitely
We've gone into the pinks.
yeah, the pinks and the purples. I have this purple color left. I have this blue left, and then I dug into my stash because I don't think I'm gonna have enough, and I pulled this darker blue.
Oh, what
To
a
end
great
it.
gradient. That's an
So-
awesome combination, because there's a little bit of blue right over here by the
Yeah.
purple.
Yeah.
So,
that'll
that's
come
gonna
next.
transition really
You know what?
nicely.
Maybe I will work on this one. Recovered.
Saved.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel like you convinced yourself. But
yeah, I think it's a.
I
Usually
have
that's what happens. You talk about it and then you make the decision yourself.
I have been
it's
doing
called verbal processing.
yeah.
so much work on this. It's like, I've been really... Okay, so first of all, I have so many whips. I have many, many whips.
Hashtag too many whips.
Never too many whips.
Never too many
Never
whips.
too many whips. But I did the thing where I sat down and I pulled out my whips and I had a hard look at all of them and I made some decisions and I frogged a couple things. I have one thing that I'm like, I've decided to frog, I just haven't done it yet. And I said, you know what, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to focus on 2 projects at a time. A smaller one and a larger one, in the hopes of like actually finishing things.
Yeah.
Because I looked on Ravelry and I haven't finished anything since like the 7th of February.
Well, okay.
Which is fine, but I just really want to have a finished thing.
Okay. I was gonna say, there ain't nothing wrong with just knitting for
Yeah.
the pleasure
Yeah.
of knitting.
Yeah.
And if you don't finish something,
That's
I mean,
okay.
it's okay to DNF it, you know?
Yeah, and I feel really good about the projects that I frogged. I don't have any regret on having frogged them. Nothing like that. I just, as I've mentioned before on the pod, I have been tracking my stash, what comes in versus what comes out. And I feel like over the last 2 years, I had twice as much come in as go out.
Yeah.
And I really want to focus on completing projects this year so that I can actually say, yes, I have used up these things for my stash.
Okay.
which is fair.
And I'm so close. Like, this and that little blue nugget are the end of an advent calendar from 2021. And I really want that, like, dopamine boost of being like, I finished this thing from 2021.
That is a great accomplishment,
Yeah.
Right?
in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah,
Because
so
I
I'm-
have whips that are older than 3 years.
Well, the whip itself, I only started at the beginning of February, but I've had the yarn since December of 2021. I knit this shawl pattern out of that yarn originally in early 2022, and it was lovely, and I ended up gifting it to my cousin. But I've been thinking about making the second one since I gifted the first one to my cousin in mid-2022, and so now I'm like, okay, I've been thinking about it for 2 years. Gotta do it. Gotta do it. So
You got to do it.
I know, and I'm so close to being done. I think this chart, I think I'm on row like 61, and I need to do like row 70, and then there's like a 5 or 10 row finishing. So I'm so close to being done. They're just like 400 plus stitches in each row. That's why it's taking so
Carine, what
long.
are you making?
This is the Astrid sweater. Well, I
Ooh.
mean, this is the border of the Astrid.
I don't think we've seen this yet.
I haven't seen it either.
No, that's the one that I wanted to work on last week, but I'd forgotten the needles, and then turns out the needles were actually in the exact bag with me at the time, and I just
Classic
assumed they
pearls.
were at work.
Classic Purl
So I could have worked on it,
Perspectives.
but this is the well, I mean, technically you're doing the front and the back ribbing first, and then
Yeah.
you kind of like join them in the round, and then
Right.
so this is either the front or the back, 'cause they're both identical pieces.
Nice.
Yeah.
And this is Knitting for Olive, the yarn. Oh, and the Astrid sweater is by, just so I don't, Knitting for Olive. So, and the yarn is both from Knitting for Olive. I think it's Dusty Aqua is the color.
Yes, I remember talking
Those
about
two
this one.
things don't go together. Water cannot be dusty.
Well, okay, so hear me out. When I got this, I ordered it online, and it looked beautiful, and I got it in the box, and it was, admittedly, it was in the evening, and it was dark, and I opened it in one of my rooms, and then I opened it, and my first thought is, this is not
Aqua.
the color I thought it was going to be. I thought it was very blue, and I was like, that's not what I wanted at all. And because I have Knitting for Olive yarn that's more like dusty blue, so I was like, oh, it's the same as the other one. And so I was kind of like disappointed, and I was like, this is not what I expected. And then I went back and I looked at it again, like maybe a few days later, and I'm like, did the color change? What happened? And then I realized it's because I saw it in the light of day.
Oh.
And now it actually looks like it was meant to be, which is more like a, again, like that dusty, like I get what
It's
they're meaning.
giving
It's like
periwinkle almost,
gray
yeah.
aqua, right?
Yeah,
so
it's
there's
like
the
a
green.
grayish green.
Yeah, so now I
too.
see more of the green than I did before. But it was so weird because I was like, does yarn change color?
No, but it's true that if you see it in natural light versus indoor live bulb light,
Yep.
it will look different.
It was different, very different. Almost
just-
no green.
Sorry, friends, I just realized another technical faux pas. My phone, which we're using as a camera, is not connected to the power.
Oh,
And it will turn off if I don't do that.
Yeah,
so
So-
yes, please.
yeah,
Excuse me.
yeah.
Pause.
Also, Gerber, would you mind closing the door? Because I can hear your computer from out here. And it's like in the back of my ear, and I'm like, oh, my brain doesn't like that.
Oh.
It's just okay. I have come to realize over the last few years, I think it was because of the like silence of the lockdowns that I learned this about myself. But I've realized that I have issues. What's the word I'm looking for? Like overlapping sounds start interrupting my brain in a way that's not good. Right? Processing, that's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I have issues processing overlapping noises. Like, as I've stated before on the pod, and I'm always happy to talk about publicly, I have epilepsy, and I have learned that there are some things that are, like, can trigger seizures or migraines, and there are other things which I don't find issues with. And it's different for everybody with epilepsy, but I have learned over the last couple of years that while volume of noise has never really been a problem for me, that overlapping noise has become a bit of an issue, and I find that processing that has become a lot harder. And I've spoken about it with my neurologist, and he was like, actually, that's very, very normal. Like as you age, that's something that people can have issues with, and he has...
Your neurologist called you old.
Well, I am 33 now officially, so... I don't know,
So
he's
it's
like...
I'm just kidding.
So it's essentially like the overlapping. You mean like it's hard to focus on one, or
It's just that, like, so, like, I'm hearing the conversation we were having, but
Yeah.
then I'm also hearing the noise of the computer in the background, and my brain is trying to focus on both at the same time and understand both at the same time, and as a result, I find that I can't actually process
Either.
both of them.
Okay.
So then I try to focus on the one that I'm a part of, and what's happening is that my
You're-
brain is becoming overloaded with
Yeah,
that
because
extra background
you're
noise.
running the
Yeah.
you're running the ignore this program on the
Exactly.
background,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
taking too much brain power.
Yeah.
You know what? Maybe this is a neurodivergence experience, because this happens to me when we are at our in-person knit night.
Yeah.
Usually there's like and I think very happily and luckily we are so privileged that a lot of people want to come to knit night
Yeah.
every Thursday, and so we end up taking a really long space, and inevitably we kind of
We echo.
and multiple conversations
Yeah.
around the area start sprouting out in like micro groups.
it can get loud.
It can get loud, but it also means that if I'm sitting at the junction of one group conversation and another one, like one thing is
Yeah.
coming through my right ear and the
And
other
the
one is
other.
coming through
Yeah.
my left ear, and then another entirely different thing is coming through my eyes,
Yeah.
and I feel like
Yeah, too much.
Yeah.
This
like
is
I can't.
this is gonna sound weird, but I kind of miss that. I miss the fact that it gets loud and overwhelming,
Overwhelming.
because like I haven't been in a while, right? So like there's a part of me that's like, yeah, it's I kind of feel like I need to.
Is
like,
that
'cause
comforting to you?
well, I don't think it's a little bit.
Oh, that's interesting.
I feel like it's comforting, but it's still overwhelming. Like there are,
Sure.
I feel like when I go regularly, there are weeks where it's comforting and I like it because it's like, it's a social gathering, and then there's other days when like it's too much. So on those days when we do have like breakout tables
You
or
will-
whatever,
so we sprout.
When we sprout to other tables, I like that better
Yeah.
just because it's a little quieter, like not so much, but like
Yeah.
it's easier to concentrate on one conversation.
I can't
That's
wait
a
for
good point.
outdoor knit night because the echo isn't an issue.
Yes.
So nice.
Knitting in the park.
For those of you
Knitting
in the
in the park
Ottawa
al fresco.
area, the National Capital Region, we host a knit night every Thursday night, and over the summer,
Come join us.
we like to sit in some of the different city parks. And we
Yay.
just like to enjoy the outdoors and the warm weather while we have it, because here in Ottawa, the warm season is a short one.
Yeah.
Or I should say the season where it's comfortable to sit outside, because it gets nice and warm in the summer, but when you're like breathing liquid because the humidity is at 100%.
and holding wool.
And
And holding wool. It's not a great combination in like
Yeah.
late July, early August.
it's funny because my mom is still in that mentality of like, what do you mean you knit during the summer? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, it's like they only, like, my mom is like, no, like, I only knit when
winter
it gets
sport.
cold.
This
And
is
then
a
I stop
winter
around March. And she's like
activity.
trying to finish her, like, she just finished it, but she was trying to finish a vest.
I love that your
fast.
mom is back at knitting.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I just thought she's like trying to finish the thing before before the end of the season. Just I'm like,
It's
Mom, it's
so
fine. You can
cute.
still knit in April, She's like, well, no. What do you mean no? It's gonna get too warm. But yes, I'm very happy that she's back into it. It's really nice to see her, and I'm bringing her to Knit City Montreal this year.
Yay!
It'll be her first time.
It'll be a mom and daughter
And daughter, yeah. Oh yeah.
outing.
Well, last
certainly
year,
not mom and dad.
No, thank
last
you.
year your mother-in-law came with us.
Yeah, so
This
this
year
year's
it'll be
my
your
mom. And
Bonjour,
she'll,
Suzanne.
she'll
Bonjour,
have a good,
Suzanne.
I think she'll. Oh yeah, I want to say she would be watching us on YouTube, but I don't think she knows what YouTube is. I love you,
Linda?
No, mom.
Oh, your mom.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
okay.
Linda watches it once in a while, but like my mom, I don't think my mom understands how YouTube works.
We'll keep her. That's okay.
But no, it'll be nice to see. I think what I'm hopeful, what I'm looking forward to is just seeing it through her eyes.
Yeah.
Because it's her first time.
Yeah.
Like she's been downtown Montreal 1,000 times, but like to an event like this, she's never
Yeah.
been, and she's very much like old school knitter.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see her like freak out. I know she's gonna freak out over everything. She's gonna be like, I want all of it.
I mean, the first time I was at Knit City, I
my God,
was
so overwhelming. We have a whole episode on that, I think,
Yeah.
if I remember
But
correctly.
yes, we do. But
if you've never been to a knitting convention, you're in
maybe
for a
don't
little
start
treat.
with that one.
No, for sure, go for
I
it.
mean,
just like be ready.
just
to
be ready.
Overstimulated.
I feel like I would rather start with like
The
Twist
Sunday.
or
Oh, yeah.
because Twist is a better, like, I don't want to say it beginner.
It's
convention, but
smaller.
It's smaller and you have half the stuff outside,
Yeah.
which is to me like nicer.
It's a
and
bit-
you get to see the herding dogs,
which is the best part.
and the flock of sheep.
I love that part. I just
That
love how
part
you
is
see like
so cute.
the dogs that are not experienced versus the ones who are, and you see the ones who are like the babies who are just trying so hard.
They're like, let me go.
and you can tell they're like not trained or
They're
like
doing
they're
like the tippy tap.
yeah. They're so excited versus like the
Yeah.
ones who are trained.
The veteran
They
dogs.
literally
Veteran
like
dogs,
I'm
yeah.
I'm amazed at how still they can be when they're waiting
Yeah.
for the order.
I mean, as a human, I cannot sit that still.
No, there's no
Exhibit A.
fidgeting is 100% part of my life, and I just I'll have these moments where like my leg starts, and then I'll just have like Matt go like,
I know. Oh my god! Like
Are you
pretty
okay?
soon after we met, we were sitting at a table at knit night, and the table started vibrating. And I'm like,
me.
what the heck is happening? And
It's
Ottawa,
just me like with my leg going
like,
to
Ottawa's on a fault line, so it's not uncommon to have mini tremors, especially downtown where it's like all concrete, so you can kind of feel it. And I just remember thinking, like, is this a mini tremor?
Hello, Alex.
Hello, Alex. Only to realize that it was actually Karine's knee just like bobbing under the table, and I was like, oh, okay,
It's
cool.
a problem, guys.
No, it's not a problem. It's not a
like
problem. It was
it.
just this really funny thing to notice in the moment because we didn't really know each other at
Yeah.
that point, and I was like, "What's happening?"
It's kind of funny though because it comes and it goes, and like at work it happens often just
Yeah.
because I'm sitting a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and when it
And
starts,
your
it's
colleagues
like,
are gonna feel like, are we in an earthquake?
well, I don't know if they notice anything honestly. By that time, like although now it's not as bad because I just raise my desk and then the second I'm standing, I'm fine.
Yeah, I've noticed it happens when you're not stimulated enough. So
Yeah. 100%.
Well, yeah, because like I feel like that's why a lot of neurodivergent people stim, because you stimulate yourself to the point
Yeah.
of comfort.
yeah.
Yeah.
I do that a lot.
Yeah.
Too.
Man, me, it's the leg shake,
I
and
do
I,
it with,
still
like, my
remember my
nails.
dad mentioning this when I was a kid, and he still to this day. I don't think he fully accepts that I have ADHD, and I'm like, the signs were there even back then. Like, come on.
That's too funny. But in the chat has cleverly noted that you have new hair.
Yes, I do.
And actually, so do
it
I.
looks so good, you two.
Hold on.
I just love how it goes so well with what you're wearing.
It does actually.
Yeah.
Both the green
Thank
and
you.
the red.
So nice.
Yes.
I
I
feel
just-
like we accidentally both got like the cool tone pinks and blues and.
Well, I honestly, I cannot take credit for this. This is 100% not my work. It is the work of my hairdresser who literally, I went in, I said, I don't know what I want, but I don't want to see my natural
Who's your
hair
hairdresser?
color.
Shout out to your hairdresser.
Oh god. She has her own,
Salon.
yeah, so she's not like, how do I put it this way? Like she's not part of a salon. She
Yep.
has her own thing.
Her own little
And
setup.
she
yeah.
works, so she works, her name's Rachel, and she works out of, oh god, what's that building? It's on O'Connor, I think. She's close to Farm Boy. So there's this commercial building where they rented an entire floor, and that floor is just individual studios that have like the same as you would see in a salon, but like individual spaces. And then salon art or like hair artists can come in and just like rent the space. So essentially so Rachel and her partner, I forgot his name, they rent so they went into business together and they rent the space, and then they kind of like share the space.
Ah, nice.
And so they have their own clients, whatever. And
Yeah.
essentially, I went in and I told her I don't want to see my hair color, and she was like, "All right, are you okay with like
You got it.
flashy color?" I was like, "Yes." And then she kind of like she's the one who came up with these 3 colors. And I was like, I
Love
trust you.
it.
I trust you.
It's
Like she knows
great.
what I love about her is she has
You've
the
been
same,
working together for a while.
Yeah, she has the exactly same hair type as me.
Oh,
Like
so
the
she knows
same
what to
fine,
get.
the same. So she knows what works and what doesn't.
She's a freelancer. Yes, that's
Yes,
the word
she
for it.
is.
Thank you.
Freelance hairstylist.
And I didn't know that was a thing until I saw that, and I was like, I will follow you. I don't care, because she used to be at a
I said that to
salon.
my stylist after our first appointment together. I was like, Amber, I will follow you if you ever move. Just know you have a client for life. And she was like, why? And I'm like, because your hands are so like gentle. And she was like, oh yeah, I get that a lot. So
But you know, when you find a good one, it's
Yeah.
nice. Like it's
Yeah,
nice
yeah, yeah.
to.
I am very attached to my hairstylist. Her name's Brianna. She specializes on vivids, as one can see. And I've been going to her for like...
a while. Because I think you and I started
it's
getting
been a
to around
few
the
years
same time.
now.
Yeah, around the same time.
And
You got me into mint.
Yeah,
actually.
it was 2021 when I had my first appointment with Amber. So it's been at least 4 years.
Both Amber and Brianna, who do our hair, are
Yep.
at Mint Hair Studio here on Wellington
Yep.
Street,
Yep.
right behind the Domino's Pizza, if you are from the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And so I go to her every time, and we've gotten to a point of rapport where we trust each other so much that I just go into her chair and I just give her vibes.
And she hits
And
it out of
she
the park.
interprets that
Love it.
Every
however
time
she
she
wants,
hits it out
and
of the
she
park.
hits it every time. Slay.
Yeah.
All day.
Because they are artists.
Yeah, they are.
Right? Especially when they work well with color. So, like, to me, it's like, dude, I trust you.
Yeah.
I say this, but one time I trusted a hairdresser, and it ended up being
But
a
you
complete
have-
mess. But I was young
You
and
have-
stupid.
You have like
Oh,
scalp
we've all been there.
scalp things to consider. Like you have extra
Well, yeah,
considerations
100%.
to
But
make,
in this
though.
case, it wasn't. It was just like the
The
person.
haircut was just bad.
The hair. Oh, the hair was so bad. Like so it was. And the worst part is that I got the haircut because I was starting to work at the government. I literally had my ID card picture
photo, yeah.
being taken like the week after. And she did this cut that was so like I can't stress enough how bad it was.
It wasn't
I came
Rachel.
out.
It
It,
was
wasn't
not
Rachel.
Rachel,
It was
somebody else.
somebody. It wasn't even in Ottawa. It was somebody. We were visiting my cousin and his aunt. My aunt and we went to like the hairdresser because she was having one of those like come in and we'll do whatever.
Walk-ins, yeah.
And everybody else got like a haircut and I still remember to this day. My cousin at the time must have been like 14 years old, 13, 14. I come out of there. And he looks at me and he's like, that looks nice. But in the most, like you can tell this is, like, horrible. And I knew before he said it. But I was like, oh, my God, my heart. And then I took the picture.
When the teenager doesn't even have it in them to roast you, you know it's real bad.
And he's such a sweetheart, too.
You're redeemable.
And I remember, like, taking the picture and, like, being really bad. Like, it was so bad. And then maybe 5 years ago, I want to say, I got to actually like update the picture for the first time. And I told the person, this was the public works picture. And I gave it to the guy and I said, burn it. And he looked at me and I was like, I'm serious. I want you to cut it in front of me. I don't want to ever see this picture again. And he looked at it. He was like, I get it. I was like, it was so bad, guys. It's one of those where I'm like,
Man, I got you.
I already am not somebody who's like, super photogenic, I find.
Yeah.
But like this picture was
Just atrocious.
just everything about it was
What's
bad.
the worst haircut you've ever had, Aly? Do you remember? Oh man. I feel like we've hit a nerve. Oh no.
We want details.
I wonder if I have photos that would even...
Chat, tell us what's the worst haircut you've ever had?
So, as a child of the 90s, there was a large period of time where my mom had my hair cut like a bowl.
Like a mushroom. I had it too. I had the mushroom.
Like a
I had the
bowl.
mushroom cut.
I remember that.
Let me see if I can find
Yeah.
one that would be... Oh, actually, I have a second one.
I looked like a Goomba.
I
kid
have
you
a
not.
second one that was
But I mean,
even
that was
worse.
the
Okay.
point, no?
To look like a Goomba?
No, but I mean, like, people were just...
To look like
so
a
bad.
Goomba. You do know that's like Italian American slang for mistress, right?
What?
What?
I think that's it.
I just know them.
Or no, I'm
as
thinking
it's a
Goomba.
Mario.
Sorry, I'm thinking of
It's
Goomba.
a
Never
Mario
mind.
reference.
Okay, you can't really tell. It's my friend. Okay, that's my friend Amanda. That's me. But like,
Oh, look at your bangs.
oh my god! Like literally with a ruler straight across the top. I know.
Wait. Was it done professionally? Or was your mom who did it?
No. This was like at a Supercuts kind of level of.
But it's the thing. 'Cause I feel
Whatever.
like a lot of the bowl cuts.
No.
come from, like, either mom
You
or,
think
like,
that's bad? This was a look I wore intentionally for a
No,
while.
actually that's a slay. That's such a slay.
No.
Aly.
But
so
you can't see the
cute.
back. Okay, here's another one of me and
That's
my sister.
actually really cute.
That's like
though.
a cunty
So
bob.
I'm in
and
the
I love it.
no. But you don't understand. My inspiration for that look. I wonder if I have another one. Okay, here's another one.
Oh
heck
my
am I doing?
god.
Oh, okay.
That is
This
like-
is when I'm trying to grow it out, right?
And with like the glasses on your head, it looks like a classic like suburban mom.
No,
like,
but you want to know
blunt
what my
bob?
inspiration was? I walked into the... Okay, so first of all, the hairdresser was my mom's hairdresser.
Classic.
First thing.
mistake.
She was super sweet.
First
Super sweet
variable.
human. Super sweet human. That wasn't part of the problem.
But it's
And
not your
I
hairdresser.
rocked up to this middle-aged lady, and I was like, I want to look like Victoria Beckham. This was in 2008.
Except I am brown and have really bushy eyebrows.
And really curly hair naturally. And
did this person even know who that was?
Oh no, she did. She
Okay.
did. There were magazines, you know.
Okay.
Victoria Beckham was freaking everywhere.
Oh,
But this was
yeah.
in her platinum bob era. And so it was a really severe like angled front cut
yeah.
with like almost
because
buzz
her hair
cut in
was,
the
like,
back.
in the middle of her cheeks.
Yeah, it was like straight and then the really short in the back, and I was like, I want to look like Victoria Beckham. And I did that,
I mean,
but
didn't
then
we
it
all?
required so much gel and so much hair straightening that I kind of gave up on it real quick. And I had
get
this like
it.
weird front shag for a lot longer than I should have. And so I had to go back to see her pretty regularly to have her like slowly even it out.
That's so
Until I had this like awkwardly short bob that was all the same length. And then finally, and that was the summer between 10th grade and 11th grade.
Oh.
And that fall we moved to China.
Oh.
And I was so terrified of starting at a brand new school
With a-
a bad haircut.
Or
Oh,
as the
God,
internet
yeah.
says, a fuck-ass bob.
Yeah. So there was a lot of like, let's go see Shelly this week and have her like even it out.
Shelly, please, you have to help me.
And so I think, if I remember correctly, I think like 2 days before we flew out of the country, we went to Shelly for the last time, and she was like, if you want this to be even, it's going to be like up near your ears. And so we had to cut it real short to get it even enough that it could grow out and not look
And
terrible.
I feel like that look is like actually quite in right now.
Yeah, now I was what, 13 years ahead of the curve? But
A visionary, really.
Visionary, exactly. I was gonna say, like, you were ahead of your time.
anyway.
Alex says once she got a brush stuck in your hair and her mom had to cut the brush.
Thanks for the first
So
time.
she ended up with bangs. Honestly, I also had a brush stuck in my hair.
Oh, I had gum once.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, but
Did
it
you
was
try the
it was
peanut
low
butter thing?
enough. So no, like my mom didn't do. I still remember the Simpsons episode where Lisa gets something. I think it's gum in her hair, and then they put peanut butter, and then they put mayo, and then they put something else
Yeah, because
they're
you
trying
want
to figure out what.
an oil.
You
to-
want
to-
something
No, it didn't
oily.
work in her case, but like in my
poor
case, it was
Lisa.
low enough that all they had to do was like a little trim, and it was
little
fine.
trim. Yeah.
So I remember actually the one time when I was a child, I was in a parade, like in a float in a parade. And so when I got out of, when I was done with the parade, I got out, my mom picked me up. And for some reason, I had gotten gum right in the middle of my head.
Oh no.
I don't know from who, from someone else in the float, or someone threw it. I don't know, but I had got gum right on the top of my head.
Oh.
And another parent of another child told my mom to use an ice cube,
Oh, freeze the gum enough that it. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
and it worked.
Because it's rubber. Yeah.
wonders.
Gum
Yeah.
is a
So
rubber.
if you ever get gum in your hair or in your clothes, rub an ice cube on it until it like freezes up,
Yeah.
and then you kind of just peel it off, and
Yep.
it doesn't hurt, and it
'Cause
doesn't leave a residue.
Because rubbers will lose elasticity
Yeah.
as they freeze.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And
I
their
will
sticking
never
power.
forget that because I thought I was gonna have to go bald because it was
Imagine
right
just
on my
like one
scalp.
patch gone. You'd have to get like severe side
That's
parts to cover it up.
literally what
until it-
happens to Lisa Simpson in that episode. She has like a shaved spot right
A bald spot right in the middle of your
Yeah.
head. Like, what am I, a
Oh my
Franciscan monk?
At this point, honestly though, I just shave it all off. If I were to
I
have
love that
just,
you got my reference. Thank you.
Yes, have tonsures. Let's bring tonsures back.
Absolutely not.
Oh my god. I have my next hair appointment at the beginning of May. Beginning of May, I think.
It's gonna be nice.
And like I'm a short hair gal. So this is long for me. right? And at my last appointment,
No, that's a really nice length for you.
Yeah.
well, no, thank you. I know it looks good. I know I look good.
I know I'm
But
hot.
I prefer like a jaw length, like just below the jaw length hair.
Gotcha.
And so at my last appointment, I was just going in for a trim and a cleanup, and I was like, Amber, it's time. Next time we're chopping it off. And she's like, okay, good, because like I was pulling your hair out of the. When she put the cloak on me, she's like, I'm pulling your hair out of the cloak, and it just kept going, and I was like, this is weird. And I was like, it is weird. It is weird. It's so long, Amber. And so we're gonna cut it next time. But while I was in the chair for the trim, we were talking about it, and she's like, so what are you thinking next time? Whatever. And I was like, a bob. But like, part of me wants to tell you to do an undercut, and she's like, we could do that. And I was like, but I don't really want to grow it out. And she's like, but we could do it. We could do it, and you could see what happens. And I was like, Amber, don't convince me, Amber. This is bad. Don't convince me, Amber.
I have to
I'm gonna
say,
hate the grow out phase.
I have side undercuts on both sides, and it really changed my life because number one, my hair sits on my head a lot nicer because like this doesn't add extra bulk on the side, so my hair doesn't go bucket, right? And on the other side, if there's no hair above my ear, so I don't get the little tickles, and when I tuck it,
it stays.
It sits really nicely.
That I like, but everything else, it's the opposite. Like, because I have no volume, so I need that poof. Like,
it's only because I have way too much hair. I have like multiple hairs coming out of each follicle.
So this is something
Nice.
I learned.
Yeah,
at the
I have
last...
to pay extra at the hairdressers.
This is something I learned at this cut that I didn't know. So if you have really fine hair like me, some people will actually like go and get it bleached completely and just like do whatever. They don't really care. They just want the bleach part because the bleach actually like raises the hair, like the root, and it makes it look puffier. And it's true. Like for the first week especially, it was like and like she told me that there's people who actually book for
a bleach
service for literally just the bleach. They don't care what color it is after or whatever. They just want the bleach part.
Interesting.
Badass.
I didn't even know it would do that.
That's
Yeah,
pretty
because
metal.
so it's a way to like give more volume if you
Volumize
have
hair.
really really thin
It's gotta
hair.
be so bad for your scalp, though.
I mean, if
Oh,
only
100%.
if you do
Hence
it
why I've
too
I've,
often.
yeah.
Yeah. Like a couple of years ago, in 2022, I did a balayage, like a blonde bleach balayage, because I wanted to dye my hair purple, only to find out after we did it that my hair is apparently not very porous and doesn't like holding hair dye. So I just
It washed out in like a day.
it came out so fast. So I ended up with just the bleach at the bottom, and like my hair was just snapping off.
It's
I don't know how
really
people
hard
do
for the
it.
hair.
It's
like I
so
wouldn't
hard
do
on
it
your
on a regular
hair.
basis. For me, like the scalp is already a problem to begin with.
Yeah.
But I've come to terms with the fact that my hair and my scalp have very different schedules. When my hair's happy, my scalp hates me.
2022 was a couple years ago. Exactly, Jojo.
Yeah, it was like 3
Thank
years
you.
ago. Oh, God, I can't believe we're almost in April of 2025.
Oh my gosh. We're almost in April of 2025, and I think I've only read like 13 books this year. I'm so far behind. Oh my God.
I forgot how many I read so far, but it's fine. It's been a while.
If anybody here is on Storygraph, hit me up. We can totally swap Storygraph handles and follow each other.
What
because
is
I
that?
It's like the new Goodreads, except it's not owned by Amazon or Facebook.
Wait, I'm sorry. What is it called? I don't know about this.
Storygraph.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
I gotta try this.
Yeah,
And
it's
you just
pretty
like
great.
you share like what you read and like
Yeah.
your opinions.
It's a similar kind of platform in the sense that you track your reading and you track what you want to read, and
because
and you track
I
your
use
stats and...
I don't have Goodreads, but I use it for research purposes, so I can tell like
okay,
what...
no, Storygraph is freaking amazing. I am a data-driven person, and I love the fact that you can have graphs about like. So like I can see here.
Look at
Oh wait, no,
that.
wrong one. Sorry, wrong one. If I go here, I can see like. Okay, so this is the like genres.
Oh,
or, like,
that's so cool.
This is like the speed, like the how fast or slow. There's like the different kind, like audiobooks. I've been 50-50. These are like the kinds of page lengths. I think that one. I'm like trying to remember it. I think, is this fiction versus nonfiction? These are the genres. And then I have my favorite graph all the way down here, which is audiobook minutes, pages, and number of books read all in the same graph. All of that information is plotted in one place.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Anyway, and
I'm
then your
installing
like
it.
average star reviews. Sorry, we have the video is like on the screen behind us, which is why I'm looking up. Anyway, Storygraph is the best. It's Black woman owned, which is like we stan.
Yeah.
And you can get all this fun data.
That is so cool. I don't know if I'm necessarily going to be like entering
then you can
everything, but
follow what your friends are reading and
That's
like their
awesome.
reviews, which is fun. So
Should we talk about books?
oh my god, let's talk about
Well,
books.
yeah.
Let's
do
talk
it.
about books,
Books,
baby. Let's talk about you.
and me.
We've been reading books.
Like so many books. I think my bookshelf has tripled in the last 3 months. A little bit more. 5 months.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
I'm actually just done with the book that I
It
was
is your
reading.
fault.
I know, you're welcome.
I'm waiting a couple more days until my Spotify account resets so that I can finish the last half of Iron Flame.
Yeah. Yeah, the weight must be killing you.
My friend that I lent my copy of Onyx Storm to, which is the third book in this series by Rebecca Yarros, she just finished Onyx Storm yesterday, and I woke up to a whole bunch of text messages to her that were like, WTF? It was so good. It was so good.
If you
I mean, it's a roller coaster.
If you haven't gotten into this series by Rebecca Yarros, Fourth Wing, Iron Flame, and Onyx Storm,
The
I'm
Empyrean
currently in the
series.
second book. It is so well written. And I was the last one of us to read the Fourth Wing, and I'm so glad to have finally gotten on board because it was really enjoyable.
I think it's one of those, like, she really did a good job, because I find for a lot of books you have, there's 3 main components. It's either you have amazing storytelling, so like the world building is amazing, blah blah. You have really, really good character development, and then you have language. And I feel like most books are 2 out of 3. And she actually kind of is 3 out of 3 for me. Like, again, this is an opinion. Is it the best book I've ever written or the best series? No, but it's definitely like the character is well developed. The world building is wonderful. And the language is fine. Like, if there's nothing wrong with it, I find. So I really enjoy the fact that it's well balanced within those 3 components, right?
Yeah, it's a well-balanced book.
Because
for
sometimes
sure.
you'll have like amazing characters, but the language is so bad you can't get into the story. Or you'll have really bad story, like great language, but you're like, what's happening here?
I was saying to these two earlier today when we were out getting coffee that I just started reading From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout, which I'm enjoying so far. I think I'm only like 5 or 6 chapters in, but I didn't realize that I had so many opinions on historical dress until I got into a book where, because this is like clearly a medieval-esque fantasy world, right? So I didn't realize I had so many opinions on I knew I had opinions on historical accuracy. I didn't know that extended to historical dress, because the first couple chapters, the main character is wearing essentially a chemise, and she keeps calling every single dress that she sees, not just what she's wearing, but other characters wearing. She calls them all gowns, but not all dresses are gowns. And she's clearly wearing a chemise, and so she keeps calling it a gown, and I'm like, you're wearing a fucking chemise, Poppy. You're wearing a fucking chemise. And I'm like, it was taking me out of the first couple chapters.
I haven't
that
read
is underwear.
I haven't read that one. But
Anyway,
I've heard it's a bit divisive. So,
Divisive?
yeah, in the sense that some people like love Poppy, others really don't
I
like her.
I don't know. I haven't read enough to form an opinion.
So I don't
We'll
know
find
anything about
out.
this, but that's
the
what I've
hold
heard.
finally came in from the library, so I'm excited to give it a go. But can I actually? Okay.
No.
Middle little kind of, but still related to books. So I was talking with some friends recently about the Fourth Wing book, the third Empyrean book, Onyx Storm. And
Sorry, what's the series being referred to?
the Empyrean.
The Empyrean.
Yeah, it's like the dragon hierarchy.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Anyway, so I was having this conversation with some of my friends about this book series, and they were asking all these questions like, "Oh, I didn't get this," and "Oh, I didn't get that," whatever. And I was like, "Oh, but it's this thing. It was mentioned in this part of the book." And like, "Oh, this person is that." Like, I was answering their questions, because I knew the answers to them. And my one friend goes, "Well, how am I supposed to like remember all of these people and all of these things?" And I was like, "But it's high fantasy. Like, that's part of the genre. There's supposed to be like huge world building. There's supposed to be a huge cast of characters."
Yeah.
And my friend said, "Yeah, but like you're an expert reader, so like you're going to get it." Like,
Well, hold on.
and I was like, "That's not fair to you, and I don't think that's fair to me either."
I think
No.
It just, I
yeah.
felt some kind of way because she was like, "Oh, you're an expert reader, so of course you get it." And I'm like, "But no,
I
you
think
don't have. No, I
No.
read a lot of fantasy books. That is true. I love world building, so I'm invested in it. That is true. But I don't think it's fair to say that you get a pass from understanding and like remembering, and like actually caring about the world building, because you don't read as many books as I do. I don't know. It was
I
a weird
think
thing. I've been chewing on it for like a couple
Yeah.
of weeks now.
But
Yeah.
here's the
So-
thing, though. The way your memory works is different. You know, everybody's like,
which is completely
which is number one.
understandable.
But number two, I think it's also how you read. Like, is this a series or a book that you really were looking forward to reading? You're super into. If you are, chances are you'll remember most things, and you'll like. I find myself, if it's a book that I'm not enjoying as much as I thought I would, I tend to like not remember as much, right? There are literally books I read from cover to cover, and then I put down and I'm like, I don't remember what I just read. And then there are others where I can remember what they said on like chapter 3 page because I was so invested in it. So I feel like it's also what kind of book were you reading? What kind of like, how invested were you in the book? Also,
That definitely has a lot to do with it. I also don't think it's fair to give yourself, like you said, a pass
Yeah.
for quote unquote not understanding, or just because you're not an expert reader. Like, I'm not an I don't think anyone is an expert reader. Is that something you can get expertise
No.
in?
I don't think so. It's not. I mean, again, it's just.
I mean, I understand if you're like an avid reader,
Yeah.
so you do a lot of that, right? It's just weird. Yeah, Alex, it's weird that people seem to be competitive about it.
It doesn't need to
What's
be.
the point?
And also, what bothers me a little bit is that this comment from this person kind of gets at like, well, if the book wasn't hard to read, then I would have understood it, and you
Yeah.
understood it just because you're better at reader than me. It's
But
just
I'm not. I'm
which is-
not better at reading. I just maybe read more books or like prioritize reading over other things in life.
But that
That
has
is
nothing to
different.
do
Yeah,
with the quality of the
just was a
book's
weird
writing.
thing.
Exactly.
It's a weird claim.
It
It's
was
a
a
weird,
weird,
very weird
comment,
claim.
and yeah, I've been sitting with it for a while. I struggle remembering names when it's an audiobook. I feel like seeing it written out helps me. Sometimes I gotta carefully Google stuff so I can see the names. Yeah,
That's fair.
Turbo, I feel you. I'm the same. I audiobooks are really hard for me because I'm a visual person. So I can, but like here's a good example. A Psalm for the Wild Build.
my God,
I
so
heard
good.
the audiobook and
Oh,
I
it
loved
was
it.
so good.
But I actually bought a copy of the book and I reread it because I felt like I didn't get all the details I wanted to. So, and again, I still remember the story from when I was listening to
Yeah.
it, but it's not the same for me. And it really is, in that case, it's really the method of delivery that affects my
Yeah.
understanding. So it's not like, it's much easier to just read for me.
yeah, to
It
visually
feels
read.
like a little shame at you for connecting points overs don't on the first read.
Which was
which is a really
Yeah.
weird thing to like dig on.
because
Yeah.
so many people on the internet that I saw, because I was doing deep dives into like theories and stuff. I went to the midnight
Which
release,
is
you know,
fun,
like I was
by
in
the
it.
way.
But I was seeing a lot of people on the internet being like, "Oh my god, why is this book so confusing?" And then people commenting, "It's actually not. Were you just not paying attention?" And then like that becoming an argument in and of itself. And it was like, well, shame on you for not understanding it, but shame on you for understanding it more than me. Like the back and forth thing. And it just, I don't know. I feel like the fantasy genre with the rise of romantasy as becoming more mainstream, it's been like, yes, it's been great in the sense that it's opened up the world of fantasy to so many people who may not have previously been into it. But I feel like there's a lot of gatekeeping that's happening in different ways as a result. And I really don't like that. Like,
No.
if you want to read a book, if you want to enter a world, you should feel like you can do that whether or not you're going to fully understand the book on the first go. Maybe you have to go back and read a chapter again or something like that. You know, take the time you
And
need
I
to like
think
get
that's
the story.
fun.
But
I think if
Yeah.
you want to go back after reading ahead and then reread a chapter before,
I do it so often.
you do it and you're like, oh my god, I totally missed this. What
All
a
Easter
tea,
eggs.
you know? This
For me,
high
it's more
drama.
like it's
Yeah.
also like when I really liked a certain part, and then I'm at a part where like it's linked to that particular. I'll just go back and read it again so that I can
Yep.
have both. Like it's just yeah.
Good point from Alex in the chat. This is also why like community is so cool, because they build sites like the wikis where they help people connect the
Yes.
dots.
Yeah.
And absolutely, I don't consider myself a bad reader just because I didn't get it on the first go. And also, I have a way lower tolerance for not understanding something in a book because I'm enjoying the experience of reading the book.
Okay,
So if I don't get it at the first go, it's not a big deal for me.
Alex, we're gonna have to talk because I'm a huge fan of the Apothecary Diaries. I've read all the novels and the manga, and I watched the anime, and oh my god, did you watch the latest episode? I can't even. The point is, yes, 100%. Like, I love this show so much. It's one of my favorite.
I keep thinking back to, I know this is really basic, but Game of Thrones.
Oh, so good. Love Game
But
of
I
Thrones.
was that annoying watching companion. I regret nothing, by the way.
You're welcome.
I was that annoying watching companion that keeps asking, "Who's that? Who was that? Oh, where did they come? Like, where'd they come from? Wait, is this the same person that did this other thing? And like, whose son is that? Who was their mom? And you know, and I'm not saying that I could have done better at watching TV. I don't think that's a thing. And I made sure that I asked the person that I'm watching, sometimes with you.
With me.
I make sure that I've asked the person that I'm asking, is it okay if I comment and if I ask questions? And if they say, no, it's not okay, then I'll figure that out on my own time, right? Because nobody owes me explanation. But Game of Thrones was one of those series that has such long and art and like vast world building, and multiple storylines with multiple equally important characters.
Can I just say that I actually really loved watching those episodes of House of the Dragon with you and with Vanessa and all, because like I had come into it having read all of the books, having read the World of Ice and Fire, like I had watched the TV shows that's coming out, all of that kind of stuff, and then getting to watch it with you who hadn't necessarily had that same background meant that I got to experience it all over again for the first time, and it gave me another reason to like go deep diving into the lore all over again, which I loved so much. It was so much fun to like re-immerse myself in this world so that I could be prepared to answer your questions.
Because
like,
you like it,
Like I would watch the episodes in advance so I knew exactly what it was that they were going to be asking me, so that I could go and I could get all that lore and I could deep dive and I could like prepare you for what was coming up in the story.
And I feel like this is so a service I would pay for.
I just had fun going out with the three of you know.
time.
Oh, please do. I'm so poor. I have a mortgage now. Like it's sad. But it was just so much fun to like, you know, get together. We'd order pizzas. We'd watch these episodes. You guys would be so confused, and I'd be like, I get to answer your questions, which is like extremely validating for me as a person who is a recovering academic. Like I love being able to answer other people's questions. It just brings me so much joy.
And I'm a curious person, and I love asking questions. So I feel like this works out.
Yeah.
So here's my mid-conversation conclusion. There is no shame in understanding lore of a fantasy series or a book in the first go, because you're just excited about it and you're able to connect the dots fast. But there's also no shame in reading it and missing a whole of the important plot points because
I do all the time.
You're reading it too lightly, or you're like doing something else with your hands while you're reading, or whatever reason it is that you didn't understand the point at the first time. There is no shame in either experience. Both of you read the book. Both of you enjoyed the book. Just get together and share your notes.
Yeah, 100%. I think
That's it.
Yeah, you said it right. The thing is, at the end of the day, it's all about enjoying a story. It's like, it shouldn't be about competition. It shouldn't be about like trying to like understand every little aspect or thinking like, if I don't, then I'm a bad reader. It's you're enjoying a story. You're enjoying escaping reality for a little bit, because Lord knows you need it. and whatever book, however form, whatever genre it takes for you to have that escape, or have that moment of freedom, or have that moment of I'm trying to learn something, I don't care. Do it. Like, do what feels for you. And that's what I like. The best books for me are the ones where when I close the book, I literally have a moment where I have to recover from the fact that I'm back in reality. Does that make sense? Like, I have to be like, oh God, I don't want to be back here. Like, it's like you're so in it. And I do have that where, like, if you finish a series or a book you really enjoyed and you know there's no more afterwards, I literally like go like I'm mourning.
You
I'm
like
mourning
you
a
have little
series, and I sometimes
grief period.
and sometimes I literally have
It's
to
called
like
the book hangover.
Well, okay, so I find that I have to line up a next book or series before I finish
Yeah.
whatever I know is going to be a hard like book
To
hangover.
deal with the
to deal with the like I have to have a rebound.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I will not survive.
That's how I.
Gerbo says he misses the descriptions of characters, so Google's fan art. to
Yes.
put them in their
Love fan
That's
art.
always good.
Love fan art.
I feel like when I read the Scolomance series, someone
So
told me
good.
not to Google the fan art.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, that was Carolyn told me that, and then I told you that, and it was because there was a lot of fan art of the like later books. They kind of like spoiled what
Spoilers.
happened. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
But after I read the first book, I did Google the fan art, and I loved like seeing other people's interpretation of the character as I pictured them in my mind.
Yep.
So cute, so cute. I just finished the book recommended by Gerbo, which was recommended by another friend. So secondhand recommendation.
What book was it?
Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. And I loved this book so much, and I couldn't put my finger on why this story felt so familiar to me and so comforting. And then I read the epilogue and like the thank you note from the author, and in that thank you note from the author, he says that he wrote it for his wife because they watched The Princess Bride together, and she said like the movie's great, but like the princess kind of doesn't do anything.
So
Wow,
essentially,
Robin
it's
Wright,
a
that's
rewrite.
So he was like, you know what? That's true. Let me write a story that's similar in where the princess does everything.
I love that.
And the Tress, the main character, is not a princess. And I think what I loved about the book is that she's described as just a normal.
Yep.
She's just a normal
She's
kid.
just a
Just a normie.
She's just a normie. It felt like playing Call of Cthulhu. If you've ever played that like Call of Cthulhu role-playing game, it's really it takes you out of the fantasy world, because if you're used to playing Dungeons and Dragons where your character has powers and spells and weapons and strengths and such, and then you play Call of Cthulhu, which is you're just playing as a normal person against this like overwhelming like eldritch horrors, and you're like my pockets have a button and $3. And this book felt a little bit like that, I guess, disjunction of like, this is an exciting fantastical world that requires skills and magic, and this is just a normal girl that's trying to go through it, and the fact that she's so ordinary gives her an advantage in the story. So if you haven't read Tress of the Emerald Sea, I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
I gotta read
So
that.
what's your let's do we want to do like Nitspiration but like book edition? Like book
Oh my
Bookspiration.
god. Okay, I have a
What
a
would
good
be
one.
your recommendation?
Okay,
for...
so a book I just finished, like, I want to say on like Tuesday, something like that. Well, I saw you on Wednesday. Didn't I like just finish it that day that I saw you? Yeah. So okay, so it must have been Wednesday. So I finished reading The Sky on Fire by Jenn Lyons, and I am obsessed with this book.
You were so obsessed. It gave me the itch, and I put a hole on it on Libby.
Oh my god, I'm so excited. Okay, but
It's contagious.
It's a standalone. If I've understood it correctly, it is a standalone so far. But the author, Jenn Lyons, has actually written another series that does also have books as dragons. There's dragons. That's what we're in right now.
We love dragons.
We're in the current phase is dragons. The current phase will always be dragons. But anyway, so this book centers around a 32-year-old woman who is like essentially kicked out of her society. But the society is ruled by dragons. Like, humans are the pets. Dragons are the, like, top tier.
She got fired?
Pretty much. Anyway, I don't want to give too much away, but the plot revolves around, like, a heist. It has found family. It has the most amazing LGBTQIA rep that I have read in a while.
Ooh la la.
I love it so much. I don't think it's a spoiler to say this, but there's this concept in the book called garden rings, and essentially every member of the society wears rings that denote their preferences and their orientation and their gender identity, and it's just like a normal thing. Like, you can rock up to a person and you can take a look at their rings and you can be like, okay, that's who this person is. This is their identity.
It's like, hello, my name is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it's like done in such a way that it's not like, oh my god, they're stigmatized for being this thing. It's like, nope, that's what they're into. Cool, great, moving on. It's like it's like as normal as like looking at somebody and noting, oh, that person's blonde with blue eyes. Like, it's such a beautiful concept, and I love it so much. And it's just I just love it. I just love that. Also, they call trans people late bloomers, and I think that's beautiful. Like just gorgeous as a concept. Because it's true.
Yeah. It's such a nice take.
I say this as somebody who is cisgender, of course, right? So you know, take that with a grain of salt. But it's just
That's
like
really cute.
it's just really, it's like a fun book, and like as is always with these kinds of books, there are some relationships that pop up in it, but it's definitely not a main factor. Like, the main factor of the book is accomplishing this task that they've set out for, that they're trying to do, and it's just
love a book with a
so
mission.
much fun. And there's this like twist on twist on twist, and you're just like, what's happening? But it's not like an extremely fast-paced book where you feel like you're getting whiplash. It's like, I'd say like a medium-paced book, but there's always something happening, and you're like, I wasn't expecting that. Well, where the hell is this going? I don't know. I put the book on hold at the library, and then it was like 6 months before I got it. So by the time I got it, I completely forgot what it was about. Somebody had recommended it to me last year, and I completely forgot what the whole story was. And then I started reading it, and I was like, this freaking slaps. There's dragons? What the heck? Anyway, it was great. I would definitely recommend it. It was really fun.
What is the name again?
The Sky on Fire by Jenn Lyons.
Love.
Yeah. Yep. Thank you to whoever
Any
recommended it.
bookspiration?
I want to say, just because April 29th is the release of the 5th book in the series, I have to say the King of Sins from Huang is very much something I recommend. If you're into romance with a morally gray-ish, depending on which book, main male protagonist. So essentially it's very much, there's not a lot of
a morally great male protagonist.
There's not a lot of world building. This is not one of those books. This is very much one of those like romance is the main focus book, but there's something about those like the way she writes the romance and the way she writes the interaction between the two protagonists. It's just like, I don't know, I eat it up. And so essentially each book is a different couple, and each book is based on a different sin. So the first one is King of Wrath. And then you keep going. So King of Wrath is the first one. King of Pride is the second one. King of Greed is the third one, which I thought, funny enough,
That's such a cool concept.
I thought I was not going to like the third one. It ended up being probably my favorite so far.
Ooh,
so just to give you a hint, the Greed one is this couple who are already married. So the couple's already together. And then throughout because throughout the entire series you meet everybody, right? Yeah. And then their story features in the book.
Bridgerton style.
And essentially they're already married, everything's fine, but then he is becoming very distant because he's focusing on his company and what he's doing and everything, and essentially she feels like, well, what am I supposed to be here like doing? And she ends up asking for divorce. And the whole story is how they get back together. And I thought, they're already together. And then I read this and I'm like, oh my god, it is so good.
Alex says, lol, I think a guy tried to hit on me in a bookstore.
No way!
Top
hilarious.
tier. Love that.
No, it's definitely, I think the fourth one is King of Sloth, and the fifth one coming
That's
in is
probably
King
me.
King of Envy. So far I have not been disappointed. And I'm so excited for King of Envy because I really, really enjoy the character who's going to be the main male protagonist, because we've already seen him in the other books. Yeah. And I'm like, yes, every story, or sorry, every book she's written, because she has another series and she has
the Twisted series.
All of her books are in the same universe in the sense that there's cameos from everybody. Yeah. Which is what I enjoy about it. So, like, there's a person that I'm already predicting is probably going to be the King of Gluttony main character.
The next one.
I know nothing about this person, but I'm pretty damn sure that's what we're headed, right? And I think we've also been introduced to King of Lust, but I'm not 100% sure. So it's one of those where it's kind of funny to, like, see where, but it's very easy to read. You don't have to think too much about it. It's one of those, like candy.
Yeah.
Brain floss. And I love it. I loved it so much.
There's something to be said about a book that has a guaranteed, like, you know how it
Yeah.
ends, like a guaranteed happy ending.
Yep.
That's just like, it's just so good, right? Like I just love them. Like, I guess we all recently read Deep End by Aly Hazelwood, and I so good. We read a lot of romance in this house, because we like it. Right? And there's no shame in that.
I mean,
but
there's nothing wrong with that.
But it was just really funny because, like, I read it first. We were in Mexico. And, oh my God, I have to share the story.
The girl at the pool? Buckle on.
Okay.
Buckle
So
up.
funny.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm, like, maybe a third of the way through the book. And we're hanging out at the pool one day. And I'm sitting there, like, the girls are on their chairs. And I'm in the pool with my arms out, like, on the deck like this. Like, just soaking up the sun. Not ready to get out yet. And I notice there's a woman a few chairs down who's also reading Deep End. And she's further in the book than I am. And I'm like, oh, I wonder. I'm trying to work up the courage to be like, what do you think? To, like, ask her questions about it. And all of a sudden, she's sitting there, like, reading nonchalantly. All of a sudden, she turns a page. Her eyebrows go up. She slams it shut. And she is like this, like furtively looking around. And then she, like, pulls the book really close to her face, leans all the way back in the chair, and opens it like this. And is, like, literally holding the book, like, inches from her face and, like, reading it and, like, every once in a while glancing around to see if anybody else can see the pages.
You know exactly where she's
I'm
at.
like, she's holding the nuclear code.
Like, and I'm just like, okay, now I have to read faster. 'Cause, like, I need to know.
You powered on.
I think I finished the book that night. Like, I was like, we got to get there. And so I got.
And do you know what part you think it was that she was like?
We compared notes afterwards.
We're pretty certain. Anyway,
I haven't finished it yet.
Okay, so I get to the part and I'm like, oh, this is definitely.
Oh, this is a part.
I'm really glad I don't think I was sitting on the beach. I think I was, like, actually, or was I? No, I must have been back in the room. Either way, but I finished the book and I'm like, yeah, I definitely know what part that was. And so
because it was towards, like, the last quarter of the book, like, close to the ending.
So then I give you the book and I'm like, this is what's just happened. Be prepared. and you're like, well, okay.
Okay.
And then
I start reading this book. It is like salt and vinegar's potato chips. It was just like page after page after page after page, and every page gets more delicious. And then I'm just like eating up this book. It's really good, and the writing is really witty and
well, I mean,
snappy.
the banter is
Aly's
great.
amazing.
Yeah,
Like, she does.
And there's
such
a couple
good...
of spicy scenes, and I'm like, that was spicy, but it wasn't like shut the book close spicy, right? And then I read it.
And you're like, oh, that's the one.
Like. I read it
So funny.
the night that we were trying to check in on the way back.
Yeah, you're checking
and
your
so
flights.
you come over to our room, and
Yeah, because I was checking in for the
worst
two of us.
potato chip choice. Okay, like whatever your favorite potato chips are.
All dressed.
And you came over, and I go, I think I just read the part, and you were like, oh yeah, and you made the worst gesture. Or was it the insert gesture of a sexual nature? And I was like, yep, that's exactly what I just read. Thank you for that visual.
Oh my god! You know what? I will give, like, again. I'm only halfway through, so I have not gotten to that part yet.
Great.
But I can just say so far, what the one thing I'll say about this book that I'm very grateful for is the representation for
the community.
For that community.
Yeah.
I have never seen it done this well. And, like, perfection. Like, I have nothing to say. Like, nothing. It's very well written. It's
really
very
hard.
Nice.
In my opinion, I think it's a difficult task to write a romance book with spicy scenes.
Yeah.
That doesn't come off as gross and abusive.
Yeah.
And this author...
Well, she did her research.
Yeah.
You can tell.
You can tell that is a person who is informed, who has experience, who is respectful of other people's points of views. Mm-hmm. And it's written in a way that it allows you to feel joy for the character without judgment.
Yeah.
And it is a really difficult thing to do, I think, nowadays.
She's,
on
like,
any topic, but specifically on romance.
So far, every book I read of her is a slam dunk. Like, I have, and she just knows how to write, like, characters.
And she's a scientist!
Well, you can tell. We can tell.
No, like, she's actually a
No, but that's what I mean. Like, it's so interesting. Like,
Aly Hazelwood is a pen name.
Oh,
so.
it oozes out of her writing
Yeah.
that she's a scientist.
Sorry, we sometimes get really excited about what
Just a
we're
little too
talking
much.
about, and the microphone's actually really, really delicate. So we have the screen behind us that has like the microphone input kind of
Yeah, it
bar.
tells us when we get
when we get too close to the orange and then into red, it means you're probably getting your ears blasted.
You're cringing bad.
Sorry. So I just noticed that we got really excited and we teetered into the red a little bit. Sorry.
Either way, we stand. Yeah, she started as a Raylo fanfic writer, and I love that for her too.
Raylo? What's Raylo?
So, Ray and Kylo Ren.
oh my god!
Yeah. So if you read The Love Hypothesis, which you haven't yet, and you really should, it's clearly Daisy Ridley and Adam Driver.
Did I not?
I don't think you had.
The Love Hypothesis.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't, because remember we were talking about it. There's a cameo of those two characters in Deep End, and you were like, I don't know them. Whereas I was like slapping my.
I think I read a different book, Love Theoretically.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
With Elsie and Jack, or B and Levi.
B and Levi.
So Love on the Brain.
Love on the Brain. Excellent book.
Yeah.
About neuroscientists.
Yeah.
So good. Who knew that neuroscientists were so kinky? I loved it.
Well, Aly Hazelwood clearly knew because she is a neuroscientist.
Well, it's
writing under a pen name.
I do love
Yeah.
when authors actually, like, you can tell they have either a day job or like something else. So
Yeah.
like there's another series I really enjoy that the author is clearly somebody who works in the medical field, because every book has like surgeons or doctors or nurses or somebody from the medical field that's just and it's so well written that I'm like, there's no way this
That
person is not
reminds
talking
me.
from experience.
I came across a book the other day. I haven't read it yet. It's not at the library,
Well, hold
so
on.
I
I
need
have to make a disclaimer before you move on.
Oh yes.
I'm actually not a Raylo fan. I don't like that Ray and Kylo Ren ended up together. There didn't need to be any romance between those two characters.
I have to agree with that.
I didn't like it.
I'm not.
All the respect to Aly Hazelwood if you stand them, but I
did.
hated that.
I didn't mind it.
You
but
liked
liked
it?
it.
Okay, Spice.
I think
for me it was more like
It's like-
I'm more like the middle ground in the sense that like I would have preferred no, but I'm okay with it. Like,
dude,
I'm
the
not,
sexual tension was off the charts from the first movie.
That
like-
wasn't sexual tension. That
Baby
was,
girl, that was sexual tension.
Was it?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not that good at reading the signs.
I am asexual,
Alex is
and
on
I
your-
could be
on your
right.
side.
Yes,
I didn't-
aces stick together.
I just didn't think it was
No.
necessary
Oh
to
my
like.
God. No, the yearning, the staring, the scene when they're in the little hut on Skellig Michael, which is the island they filmed on. I can't remember what.
So you think
Luke-
this
Oh my God,
whole arc of Star Wars movies was an enemies to lovers trope?
It's an epic
Yeah.
space opera. Of course, it was an
was
enemies
not
to lovers.
Get it?
Yes, thank you. Oh my God, you can't call something an epic space opera because that's what Star Wars is,
It
and
is.
Yeah,
not
pretty much.
have an enemies to. Hello, Leia and Han, enemies to lovers.
Yes.
Yeah,
No,
that's true.
100%.
that is true.
I'm right. I'm always right.
Listen,
Always right.
I accept it for what it is. I just didn't like that they put it in there.
That's fair.
I
It's-
liked the two characters individually, and then they went, no kiss. And I was like, ew, no, don't make them kiss.
I love that.
Anyway,
It's so
please
good.
continue with your book recommendation.
Oh, well, it's not a recommendation because I haven't read it yet. But I can't remember if I've mentioned this before. But I am a conservator, like an object conservator. So things you see in museums that look nice. I'm usually yes, Finpo. Sorry, the chat's popping up. Alex. is popping
Finpo
up.
should have been a thing. Finpo, for sure.
I mean, honestly, the hugging, the squeezing, the touching, it was all there.
Yep, it was
Like the path was clear.
Now
Like,
that,
that was a door they couldn't
that is
walk
some
through.
sexual tension I
Yeah.
did pick up on. Or maybe everyone just has a hard on for Oscar Isaac.
Both.
A little bit.
Anyway.
Gerbo, I stand Finn and Poe way more than Rey and Kylo. Agreed.
Oh man, I love how this has devolved. I love it. I love
we
how
always
this is
do.
shaken out. Like this is literally what this whole thing is that we just gab and giggle.
Yeah. Sugar shit, as they say in Canada.
Anyway,
So you're a conservator.
I'm a conservator, and it's very rare that you see conservation written about like in the mainstream, like people are conservators, whatever. Anyway, I came across this book at Indigo the other day, and I need to get my hands on a copy. It's called Her Night at the Museum by Bryn Donovan.
Tonight at the museum.
And she's an art conservator working at the British Museum, if I'm remembering correctly.
Oh!
And he's
only the most prominent museum in the world.
We did a colonialism.
Or maybe it's the V&A.
What do you want to bet she got there, like, by her own merit, super young? She's like a prodigy in the heritage. You're gonna be so bothered. For those of you that don't know, and we know because we live very close to Aly's life experience, it's actually incredibly difficult to break into a professional career in heritage.
Yeah. There's no
Probably
money in it.
even harder than breaking into a career in academics.
Oh, no, it's probably about the same. But either way, the female main character is an art conservator, which already I'm like, then why are you treating a suit of armor? And he's like a knight who's like stuck in this magical suit of armor, and then something happens where he's like released from the suit of armor, and she's... Anyway, I'm assuming they fall in love because like...
Well, it sounds like, yeah.
And shenanigans ensue. And so when I saw it at Indigo, normally what happens is I look at Indigo for books and then I either put them on hold at the library or I order them from my local indie. That's usually how I approach things. I didn't buy this one. I haven't ordered it yet. Couldn't get it on the library. But I want to read it because I want to see if it's proper representation of the conservation community.
You
because
gotta
we're
do
just
it.
so rarely out there in the mainstream. Typically,
Yeah.
like we are behind the scenes folk. We are. It is an industry of introverts. Like hardcore introverts. Like we don't go out into the public and do things.
Yeah.
And talk about our jobs. It doesn't really happen.
You
all
do
that much.
now since you joined
Yes.
Midnight.
Yeah.
5 years ago.
That's true. I've been forced.
Oh my god, we're
into
coming
the
up
world.
to our 6th year anniversary of Midnight.
My God.
And thus our friendship.
Yay.
Yay!
Anyway, yeah, I'll report back on this book at some point in the future.
Yeah, we want to know.
And
I
see,
do wanna
see
know.
how we feel.
I do have
I'm
to
gonna have
say,
thoughts and feelings. If I buy this book, I'm gonna have to buy a copy of it so that I can annotate it and be like, "You're wrong." You know.
would you say that any representation is better than no representation?
No, I would not.
No,
You would
it
not?
really
no, I would not.
depends on
Okay,
the-
so you know Monkey Jesus.
No.
What? Is that?
Please
Okay, if you
explain.
guys saw the photo of Monkey Jesus, you'd know. So there.
Oh, I know Monkey Jesus.
I don't think I know.
It was this
Let me pull it up.
someone had taken this painting of Jesus, bust
Oh,
of
yeah.
Jesus that was
Oh, yeah.
in the church
Okay,
on a
yeah,
wall,
I
and they
remember.
tried to like
Yes.
repair it.
Yeah.
Okay, so what
And it ended up
happened?
looking like a monkey.
Yeah,
What
And it looks horrible.
happened? This is Monkey Jesus. So
Awful.
there is a church in Spain
Monkey
that had a like 12th century mural of Jesus, and because of poor environmental conditions and damp and such, the mural became damaged, and a well-intentioned member of the community was like, I can fix this, and so began
A reconstruction project, really.
in painting, touching up the mural. And this photo was taken, apparently it was like, she hadn't finished painting it yet. Apparently this was only partway through the process. But that image was taken and has been like rocketed around the world of like what not to do, of like well-meaning, reconstructions and conservation efforts. And can I just say that if you have a thing and you're like, oh yeah, I can fix it, it's totally fine, I can make it good again, don't, give me a
Yeah,
call.
don't do it.
I'll tell you where to go, or I'll help you out if I can, but like, don't try it yourself, folks. There's a reason why we go through a lot of schooling.
DIY has a limit, and it's this.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
like, look, if you buy a vintage dress and you want to make it wearable again and you decide to wash it at home and like refix the stitching and stuff, great, all the power to you. But if you have a thing and you're like, this belongs in a museum, come see the professionals, please.
Yeah. Maybe don't try it.
Because too often
It
you
might
see...
be exciting for the professionals. For you to bring them an object that
Yeah.
needs some conservation.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and you know what? Like, there's a lot of stuff where I see people being like, oh, I bought this, like, 18th century thing, and I want to display it in my home, and so I fixed it. And then it's, like, a video of them, like, putting super glue on the back of, like, super fragile, like, tiles or something. And my, like, inside, I'm like, oh, God, that's...
She's dying
I just, like,
inside.
I can't even, like, articulate. I just, like, make sad noises.
That is the sound that Bilbo makes when we're taking too long to serve him dinner.
Well, that's how I feel. Like something is being
Your life is over.
taunting, like
Your life is
tauntingly
over.
right in front of me, and I can't reach it.
That's what it is.
So please don't try to don't follow all the things you see on the internet. Sometimes they're just watch, but don't try.
Wait a minute. Are you telling me the internet lies?
Yes.
The internet.
The internet
The World Wide Web.
is a lying liar who lies. Lying.
But I thought fake news was a myth.
Oh man. Oh man.
Book recommendation from Alex. A Sorcery of Thorns, about magical libraries and books that come to life and political threats. Yeah, that sounds exactly up my
BRB just
alley.
gonna put this
Yeah.
on the Libby
What was that
holds.
animated movie from the early 2000s or late 90s that was about books that come alive in a library? And they're like, they're trying to escape, and one of them has wings, and they have like faces in the front. Somebody help me out. I'm having a brain fart. Oh, Bilbo, you're back. Come on up.
Come here.
Come here. Come touch.
Sorcery of Thorns.
Not impressed.
By Margaret Rogers.
He's living his best
that
cat
right?
life right now.
I
Great
see
libraries.
the word library.
Yep.
That's
Cool.
probably it.
Place hold.
Thank you.
Ooh, only about a 4-week wait. Love that.
Thank you for the recommendation. We really welcome those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I personally love reading like the popular books just as much as I like reading niche stuff that I find in thrift shops, because I think it gives a really good insight to like what people are thinking and feeling and craving.
Yeah, for sure.
It's really fun. And then also it gives you stuff to talk about with your friends who don't like reading niche shit.
Mm-hmm. Do you knit while you read?
Oh, all the time.
Do you knit while you read?
How can you do that?
Well, I have my iPad, and so I open Libby on my iPad and I just set it up and I just pick a project that doesn't have like, you know, lace or cables or anything. So we'll just do like stockinette or whatever.
Alex says yes. You knit when you're reading too.
I
Yeah.
can't.
That's
And
so
so
cool.
I'll just like, I'll read and then I'll knit and then I'll like tap the page, or I've got a little clicker, which is also great. I love that. A digital page turner.
the clickers.
Or I'll listen to audiobooks. I prefer listening to nonfiction in audiobook format as opposed to reading it. I find for me the information retention is a lot better. Like currently I'm reading a book called Unlikable Female Characters, and it's all about female archetypes in pop culture and how like you can like distill them down into like 7 archetypes.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's really good. It's very interesting and quite like it. That's really fun to listen to because it's like all these like, oh, this character in this movie did this thing and this is how she fits in the archetype, and then this archetype came along and you can see it in this movie and this movie and this movie and that movie, and I'm like,
I feel like just now as you're saying this, I'm understanding what the word archetype
Exactly.
means. I didn't realize that.
No, this is kind of. I
Like it kind
can't.
of always sort of made sense, but not as clearly as just now. Oh,
Okay.
cool! I love
Anyway, it's a
something.
great book. Love it so far.
And
I'm
I
like halfway
can't
through.
knit for when I'm reading.
Really?
I can't.
What about when you're listening?
I'm holding the.
Knitting
Well, no,
an
I'm
audiobook,
usually-
yeah.
Well, yeah, listening, yes, but like if I'm reading, I'm holding the book physically. So I'm like, how am I supposed to knit? And
I
hold
like
the
to
book?
practice like knitting without looking, especially when I'm walking. So I can go
So,
do
yes,
like 3 or
walking,
4
knitting,
stitches
walking, I can
without
do. That's fine.
looking.
Yeah.
But it's not a big step then if you're able to knit and walk.
No, but I mean,
to,
like I'm
knit
holding
and
the
read.
book physically.
No, just like put it in a holder.
What holder? What?
You can get also like a cookbook stand, for example. I
Yeah.
usually will stick my paperbacks up on that, or you can get these like book
But
pillows.
then how do you
that
keep
are
them
cool.
open?
The book pillow.
They've
They have an elastic or something.
They've got like they're meant to hold books
I
open.
am not. I just read like in my-
e-reader.
Yeah, my
Yeah,
e-reader.
there's that
I
too.
do
That's
with
my
e-reader.
birthday gift this year. I've already told
Oh.
everybody that is giving me a gift that's the only thing I care about this year.
Okay, if you're getting an e-reader, get a stand for your e-reader.
Yeah. Okay. That.
Get
like
a
a
digital
clip.
clicker. That's what I like. I have an articulated stand, and I stick my iPad in it so that I can read while I'm in bed. And I like attach the digital clicker to the iPad, and then I like cozy on up under my blankets, and I have the digital clicker, and I just like click.
Alternatively, learn
It's
to
great.
knit one-handed. Easy peasy. No, I actually did see a video of someone on YouTube that was knitting one-handed.
Yep.
They
Adaptive knitting, yeah.
Adapted knitting, yeah. They had a little contraption that they had built so that they could keep one needle stationary, kind of like lever knitting, and then they were just using their left hand to
Yeah.
like,
Cool.
wrap and
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. Yeah.
yeah, it looked really cool. It's so nice to see that people are like, well, I still want to do this activity that I enjoy, but
Just need to
I'm
find
going
out
to
a way to do
adapt
it.
it to my body.
Exactly.
Oh man!
Well, it is 3:30.
Oh my god! we should probably stop yapping.
Never.
Do we still want to do an inspiration or no?
Yeah, let's do
it.
Could you pass me the keyboard, please? Some inspiration coming your way. Da 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 da. Yay! I really love the little sparkle that sounds every time we have an inspiration.
So good.
What is inspiring you today?
So I'm gonna cheat a little bit. It's not knitting, it's sewing.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Make inspiration.
Make inspiration because I saw it and I bought it and I was like, I want to make it yesterday. So it's the Sasha Starlight Palazzo pants.
Oh, I've seen
Palazzo
so
pants.
many reels
Palazzo
about
pants.
this.
I'm obsessed with it and how good it looks, and I just want to make 5 pairs.
And they're a fit forever pattern because they're adjustable pants.
Right. I love the fact that it's like one of those, like the elastic is in the back. The details look really good. So I'm just trying to figure out what fabric I want. Do I want solid color or do I want like a nice print or like what is it going to be? So it's probably going to take me a year to do this because my sewing is very much not as fast as my knitting. But that's the next one.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
And I've seen Sasha Starlight patterns and she's made like a blazer that goes with the palazzo pants.
So this is
and
what
it
it
looks
looks like.
really, really cool.
Ooh.
It's like so flowy.
So it's almost like a skirt when you see them wear it. Like
Yeah.
it's like really baggy pants, but then you have the elastic in the back,
Freaking
so
love
it looks
palazzos.
it's so freaking. It looks
Yep.
really nice, and I love the fact that she has detailed videos explaining everything, every step. I'm like, yes,
Oh, thanks, my woolen mitten.
yay!
Tune in, Labor really enjoyed your chest. Thank you. I'm so glad you're feeling the hangout vibe. That's what we were going from.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yay.
that's where we're at. That's where we're at.
Aly, what's inspiring you today?
Frogging my knits.
Excuse me?
Yeah, I know.
I mean,
controversial.
You're
Yeah,
inspired by
no.
frogging?
Yeah, I am.
It's
so
like giving a second life.
I back in like January, I did a Just Do It January where I was like, I'm not casting on anything new. I'm gonna hey Bilbo, come here. I'm not casting on anything
here,
new.
buddy.
I'm just gonna like, work on what I have, and I'm gonna get rid of some stuff, or not get rid of some stuff. I'm gonna frog some stuff if I'm not feeling it. So I think I frogged like one thing, and then I worked on some more, and I finished like a hat. Anyway, hey Phillips, oh, not on the knitting. Oh, the nails. Oh, the nails. Jesus Christ, child.
Buddy.
Alrighty, sit down on your own butt, not on somebody else's. Anyway, I have been thinking about a couple of other projects that I had, whips, long-standing whips, and I finally decided to frog 2 of them, and I frogged one of them yesterday, and while I was frogging it, I was like, this yarn would be so good in a Tolsta tee.
Oh.
But it's just one skein of DK, and I was like, that's obviously not enough. So then I was playing around in my stash, and I was like, oh my god, I could make a stripy Tolsta. And so I had to like physically restrain myself from winding up the
Casting
yarn
on.
and immediately casting on, because I'm so close to finishing this shawl. I'm so close to finishing the socks I'm working on. I was like, you gotta finish at least one before you cast on anything new, babe. So yeah, like in just the act of frogging the project and like feeling the yarn in my hands, I was like, this would be really good for this other thing. And I was getting inspired to like, okay, let's go. Let's start something new. Let's frog this thing that's not serving me and just go at it. Like, it was great. So
Like Marie Kondo said, if it's not sparking joy,
Yep.
yeah.
get rid of it.
Get rid of it. What about you?
This week, I'm feeling really inspired by a knitting design brand called Degen. Or
Okay.
Degen.
Okay. Oh, is that the sweaters with the circles?
Yeah!
Okay, yep, I've
They
seen
have
them.
a lot of really funky, like, unusual wearable patterns.
Mm-hmm.
So the one that I've been seeing really often is like this gray sweater with negative motifs. So it's like
circular
a whole
cutouts.
a whole cutout, like circle cutout with like a red accent, like little
They're
little
so cool.
little
Like this?
trimmings. Yeah, Degen. They have like really cool color blocking patterns, really interesting like textures, and just
wow.
like unusual. And I love me a weird
Adult eyes sweater. Yes.
a weird little pattern moment. They have eyes on their they have lips on their sweaters, and they have really
sorry, Bubs.
weird
They
like
have holes in their
Yeah,
sweaters.
they're
Yeah.
so cool though.
The shawls and the
They're so cool.
and the accessories are also like very funky, like with little teeny tiny like
miniature hats.
miniature thingies. And anyway, it's just a really fresh take on modern knitting, and I
It's
want to
giving
make
modern art.
it's giving modern art museum, and I love that to either be worn around and also be displayed in an exhibit, because I find it so unique and innovative, and I love it when people break the rules to make something interesting looking. And anyway, it's just really inspiring. I love it. I don't know where they're from. I don't know if it's a brand or a person, but degen.us.
I just had it open. I can
Degen. Or degen.us. Yeah, give them a follow. I think it's really, really, really sweet. And let's get weird.
I make patterns, sweaters, and knitting tools. That's what their Instagram says.
You know, it reminded me of another really interesting modern knitter called Irurari, with a Y.
I don't think I know
Irurari, and she takes finished garments, or commercial garments, and she adds knitted accents that look like luscious lips with a tongue flopping down,
Nice.
or just like teeth
Yeah.
on the arms, or eyes with eyelashes, and they're all like she stuffs them a little bit so they're like relief. And
Mister, where
she's
you
more
going?
of a textile artist than she is a pattern designer. I don't actually think she sells any
here,
of
buddy.
the
Oh,
patterns.
no, butt on the knitting. No butts on the knitting.
No butts on the knitting.
Thank you.
Anyway, Irurari is also very much on the vibe of degen.us. So I'm maybe I just like sweaters that have eyes on them.
Thanks,
What a
This
time
way you
we
get to
had.
have eyes in the back of your
That's
back.
right.
The back of your back.
On the back of my back.
Well, wouldn't the back of your back be your front?
Thank you all for joining us today, and thank you, Bilbo, for being our usual emotional support and for stepping on our knitting and putting your butt right on them.
That's right.
I love
a-
this dog so much, and he
I mean,
grosses me out
if we
so much,
don't
but I
have
love him
Bilbo
so much.
hair on our knitting,
Yeah.
did we really knit it?
Did you really have a good time?
Did we
I'd say
even
no.
really stream? No. The answer's
Yeah.
no.
Oh, big yawn. Good boy.
Naps are in store for all of us after
Yes.
this.
And good boy, all of you, for sticking around with us while we stream of consciousness, chit chat, and yap about stuff that may or may not be related to knitting.
Who knows?
Who knows?
I can't wait to watch this back later and be like, WTF.
WTF was that?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah,
thank you
yeah.
so much for sticking with us through our technical difficulties and our dog stepping on our knitting. And we'll
keep
see
'em.
you again in 2 weeks.
With a video
With
that
a
we
video
have.
that we have recorded
Yeah.
on a divisive topic that's hot off the presses. So yeah,
Hope you're
if you
ready
want
for
some
some
knitting tea,
Pearls
Yep.
of Wisdom.
Pearls of Wisdom coming to you 2 weeks from now,
Yep.
and we'll be live again 2 weeks after that.
Should be, yeah.
Thank you guys so much for coming, and we'll see you again with more Pearl's Perspectives.
Bye.